My name is Jake Miller. I just came back to life, and the first thing I did was kick that damn revenge system out of my head. I swore I'd use my own two hands to fix all the mistakes from my last life. But on the very first day of my rebirth, the city's most famous Ice Queen CEO cornered me in an alley. She handed me a black card, no expression on her face, and told me the password was my birthday. I figured she was a scammer and bolted. Who knew she'd chase me down day after day, constantly finding new ways to try and give me money? I couldn't even refuse. What was she actually after? Ding. Detecting users' intense regret and unwillingness. The ultimate beatdown system is binding. Binding successful. User Jake Miller. From today, you will embark on a path of conquering all, ascending to the pinnacle of the world. Newbie Starter Pack in distribution. If the user utters the phrase, "You reap what you sow," and fortunes can turn, never underestimate a young man. To the first person encountered within 3 seconds, you will receive $1 million in seed money. In a haze, I heard that voice, familiar yet somehow alien. In my last life, that voice had ruined me. It gave me seed money, made my investments a breeze, and let me easily get back at everyone who'd ever looked down on me. I drowned myself in the thrill of wealth and vengeance, but I overlooked the people who mattered most. I thought money could solve everything. But when my father's company was maliciously shorted and nearly went bankrupt, all the money I threw at it only accelerated its demise. When my mother fell critically ill, I flew in the best doctors from around the world, only to watch helplessly as she slipped away. It wasn't until the very end that I understood. This beat-down system had given me nothing but a poisoned chalice. It taught me how to win a fight, but not how to build, how to love. Before I died, my only thought was if I could do it all again, I'd reject this damned system. I'd rely on myself, honorably, to protect my family. And just like that, I was back. Back at 22, fresh out of college, before any of the tragedies had unfolded. User, please utter the phrase within 3 seconds. Countdown initiated. 3. My vision gradually cleared. I was at the familiar campus intersection, right outside the university gates. A girl in a blue dress was walking towards me, head bowed, engrossed in her phone. It was her. In my previous life, I'd said that cringy line to her. She'd looked at me like I was insane, and then $1 million had appeared in my bank account. 2. The system's irritating voice echoed in my head. I took a deep breath, and addressing the voice in my mind, I spoke each word, clear as a bell. Screw off. The system seemed to glitch. User, what did you say? System did not detect clear audio. I said, get out of my head. I repeated, my voice not loud, but every word carried an undeniable resolve. I don't need you. Warning. User is actively unbinding the system. You will permanently forfeit the opportunity to change your destiny. Confirm unbinding. Confirm. System unbinding. 10%, 50%, 100%. Unbinding successful. May you enjoy a mundane and unremarkable life. The cold voice finally vanished. The world instantly grew quiet. I let out a long, slow breath, feeling my entire soul relax. The sun shone down, warm and inviting. Even the air felt fresher. It felt so good, finally free of that system. I clenched my fists, feeling the strength of this young, vibrant body. This life, I, Jake Miller, would use my own hands to fix every regret. My immediate priority, prevent the crisis at my father's company. In my previous life, my dad's company, Oceanfront Industries, was maliciously targeted by competitors because of a new material patent called Starlight Alloy. Their cash flow dried up, and they ultimately went bankrupt. I knew that Starlight Alloy actually had a fatal flaw: irreversible structural degradation in high-temperature environments. If I could prove this, I could not only resolve the company's crisis, but also turn the tables on our rivals. To prove the defect, I need to rent a professional lab, buy a batch of raw materials for high-temperature and high-pressure testing. That would cost at least 200 grand. 200 grand. I patted my pocket. All I had was a crumpled $50 bill, left over from last week's spending money. Reborn and already facing a financial crisis. I felt a headache coming on, but I wasn't panicked. I remembered clearly that in 3 days, a small company called Dawn Tech would successfully get a patent for drone obstacle avoidance technology, and its stock price would skyrocket fivefold in a single day. All I needed was some seed money, even just 10 or 20 grand. With smart trading, that could turn into 100 grand in 3 days. But where would that first 10 or 20 grand come from? Lost in thought, I walked into a cafe by the university. It was quiet, a good place to think. I ordered the cheapest Americano and found a window seat. Just as I was about to mentally sort through all my potential money-making opportunities, a shadow fell over my table, carrying a crisp, elegant perfume scent. I looked up and saw a perfectly sculpted face, flawless skin, sharp features, but her eyes were like chips of ice, devoid of any emotion. She wore an impeccably tailored white power suit, exuding an intimidating aura. Clearly, she was used to being in charge. I recognized her, Chloe Sterling, a campus legend, 2 years my senior, who'd started her own investment company right after graduation. In just 2 years, she'd become the infamous ice queen of the business world. In my previous life, our paths never crossed. She was a star in the sky. I was dirt on the ground. Why was she here, standing in front of me? A knot formed in my stomach, and I instinctively leaned back. Chloe Sterling didn't speak, just watched me with those icy eyes. Her gaze was devoid of emotion, as if she were appraising an object. Her stare made my skin crawl, and I couldn't help but speak. "Chloe, everything okay?" She still didn't speak. She just reached out and placed a black card on the table, then said in a flat, even tone, "The password is your birthday." I froze. A black card? Password is my birthday? Was this some new scam? Or some rich lady's twisted game? I looked at the black card on the table, then at her perpetually icy face, utterly bewildered. "I don't get what you mean," I frowned. "Money." She uttered one word, concise and to the point. "I don't need it." I refused almost instinctively. I just kicked out one system, and now some mysterious woman was trying to give me money? What kind of crazy day was this? My refusal seemed to surprise her. Her frozen eyebrows shifted almost imperceptibly. "Take it." Her tone held an undeniable command. This made me even more vigilant, giving me money for no reason. And with that attitude, there was definitely a catch. I pushed the black card back, stood up. "Sorry, I don't need it. If you have nothing else, I'm leaving." With that, I walked around her and quickly left the cafe. I didn't look back, but I could feel that cold gaze fixed on my back. I only relaxed once I was a good distance away. This Chloe Sterling was too strange. I shook my head, pushing the matter aside. The priority was still to make money. After much thought, the only person I could borrow money from quickly was my best friend, Matt Rodriguez. His family was well off, and he was generous. Borrowing 20 grand shouldn't be an issue. I pulled out my phone, about to call Matt, when an unknown number called. I answered casually. "Hello, Jake Miller." A cold female voice came from the other end. It was Chloe Sterling. My heart skipped a beat. "How did you get my number?" "It's me, Chloe Sterling." She seemed to know my confusion. "Where are you?" "Why would I tell you?" I retorted warily. There was a few seconds of silence on the other end. Then she said, in a tone that sounded almost like she was gritting her teeth, "I need to give you money." Me? Is this woman crazy? I hung up without hesitation and blocked the number, all in one go. The world was quiet again. I found Matt's number and dialed. It rang for a long time before he picked up. The background noise was chaotic like a noisy bar. "Yo, Jake, what's up?" Matt's booming voice came through. "Where are you?" "Where else but the dive? Graduation party. We're not leaving till we're wasted." "Where'd you run off to?" "Get over here." Then I remembered. Tonight was our class's graduation party. In my previous life, I hadn't gone because I was in a bad mood. "I've got something to do, so I won't be able to make it." I paused, then said, Tank, are you good for some cash? Could you lend me 20,000? I'll pay you back next week." 20 grand? What do you need that much for?" Matt paused. "Is something wrong with your family?" "No, I just need it for something." "All right. My man needs it, so it's happening. But I don't have that much cash on my card. My dad froze my account. Come to the dive. I got a few buddies here. We can pull it together. It'll definitely be enough." "Okay, I'll be right there." I hung up, relieved. The money problem finally had a lead. The dive wasn't far from the university. I got there in about 10 minutes. Just as I reached the entrance, a white Maserati screeched to a halt in front of me. The car door opened, and Chloe Sterling stepped out. She had changed clothes, a black dress that made her skin seem even paler, her aura even colder. But her face wasn't great. There was a hint of unhidden fatigue and irritation. She walked up to me and, without a word, shoved a thick envelope into my arms. 200,000 cash. Her voice was still icy, but it seemed to carry a trace of imperceptible pleading. Take it. I held the heavy envelope, utterly bewildered. Chasing me down just to give me money? And 200,000 in cash. What exactly did this woman want? I hugged the heavy envelope, feeling like I was holding a hot potato. Chloe, what exactly do you want? I frowned, trying to discern something from her stoic expression. To give you money. Her answer was still so simple and direct, yet utterly incomprehensible. Why? No reason. This conversation was impossible. I felt like I was talking to a pre-programmed robot. I can't take your money. I handed the envelope back to her. We're not close. I can't just take money for no reason. Chloe didn't take it, just looked at me, and for the first time, her beautiful eyes showed an emotion called confusion. She seemed to utterly not understand why anyone would refuse free money. Just as we were at a stalemate, a few people came out of the dive, led by a red-faced, obviously drunk Matt. Jake, you finally made it. Matt's words caught in his throat. His gaze fell on Chloe beside me, and his eyes widened instantly. Chloe Sterling. The few classmates behind him also saw Chloe, and they all froze, mouths agape, unable to speak. Chloe Sterling was a legend at school, and after graduation, she became a rising star in the business world. To us, still ungraduated students, she was like someone from another world. And now, this legendary figure was practically accosting Jake Miller, the most ordinary guy in our class, right outside the dive. Matt's gossip-loving soul ignited. He leaned in, nudged my arm with his elbow, and whispered conspiratorially, "Dude, what's going on? When did you hook up with Chloe Sterling?" I rolled my eyes at him, annoyed. "Don't talk nonsense." Saying that, I tried to force the envelope back to Chloe again. "Chloe, I really can't take this money. Please take it back." Chloe's brow furrowed even deeper. She seemed to be enduring some pain, her face even paler than before. "You have to take it." Her voice held an undeniable command. I said I don't want it. My patience was wearing thin. Just then, a snide voice came from nearby. Well, isn't that Jake Miller? What? No money after graduation, so you're trying to snag a sugar mommy here. I turned to see a slick-haired young man in designer clothes, looking at me with a sneer. Brad Thorne, our class president, and one of my nemeses in my previous life. He was always flaunting his family's money at school and constantly butted heads with me. Before I could say anything, Matt exploded. "Brad, watch your mouth. Jake's not like that." "Oh, really?" Brad laughed exaggeratedly. "Then what's he doing?" "Practically hugging the CEO, discussing academic papers." A few of his cronies laughed along. I couldn't be bothered to waste words on people like him, so I just gave him a cold look. That look only seemed to egg Brad on. He walked up to me and reached out to grab the envelope from my arms. "Let me see. How much did the sugar mommy give you?" "Enough to last you the rest of your life." I dodged his hand, my eyes narrowing. "My business is none of yours." "How can it be none of mine?" Brad's smile grew wider. "We're classmates, after all. If you're really being kept, it makes our whole class look bad, doesn't it, Ms. Sterling?" The last part was directed at Chloe, his tone full of fawning. Chloe's gaze never fell on Brad. She just looked at me, or rather at the envelope in my arms. Her face grew worse and worse, even breaking out in a fine sweat on her forehead. "Take it," she said again, her voice now trembling slightly. My heart stirred. She seemed afraid of something, afraid that I wouldn't take the money. A ridiculous thought flashed through my mind. Did she have something on me? Impossible. This was our first proper meeting today. Was she being threatened, forced to give me this money? As I was pondering, Brad, seeing that Chloe ignored him, felt slighted and, in a fit of anger, reached out to snatch the envelope from my arms. "Stop acting all high and mighty. Hand it over." My eyes flashed cold, and just as I was about to move, a figure was faster than me. Chloe suddenly stepped forward and grabbed Brad's wrist. Her movement was incredibly fast. I didn't even see how she did it. "Ah!" Brad screamed, his face contorted. "Ow, ow, ow. Let go. Let me go." Chloe looked at him expressionlessly, her grip showing no weakening. Her eyes were terrifyingly cold, as if looking at a dead object. "You dare lay a hand on what's mine?" Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried a chilling intensity that seemed to drop the temperature around us by a few degrees. Matt and his classmates were stunned. No one expected this seemingly cold and slender CO to be so fierce. Brad was practically in tears from the pain, begging, "I'm sorry, Ms. Sterling, I'm sorry. I'll never dare again. Please let go." Chloe snorted, and with a flick of her wrist, threw Brad aside. Brad stumbled back a few steps, landing on his backside, looking at his swollen wrist with terror, not daring to say another word. Chloe didn't even glance at him again, turning back to me. "Now, will you take it?" I looked at her pale face and those stubborn eyes, and the absurd thought in my mind grew clearer. She wasn't trying to give me money. She had to give me money. There had to be some unknown reason behind this. I took a deep breath and made a decision. Fine, I'll take it. I held the heavy envelope openly. Almost the instant my words fell, I clearly saw Chloe's tense body visibly relax. She let out a long breath, as if she had just won a difficult battle. The cold sweat was still on her forehead, but her complexion rapidly returned to normal. "That's better," she looked at me, a slight, almost imperceptible upturn of her lips. "It's yours." With that, she turned and left, decisively, without any lingering. The white Maserati roared and sped away, leaving only me and a group of stunned classmates and a bewildered Brad Thorne slumped on the ground. Jake. Matt stammered. You and Chloe Sterling, what exactly is your relationship?" I held the $200,000 in cash, giving a wry smile. "I have no idea, man. I ended up not going to the dive." Matt saw me holding $200,000 in cash and absolutely refused to let me enter such a sketchy place. He personally escorted me to the bank, watched me deposit the money into my card, then pulled me to a nearby bubble tea shop, eager for gossip. "So, spill it, what's going on?" He ordered a full sugar bubble tea, gulped down half of it, and wiped his mouth. "I told you, I don't know," I shrugged helplessly. "Oh, come on." Matt looked unconvinced. "Chloe Sterling, she's like an untouchable goddess. She wouldn't just chase you around to give you 200 grand for no reason. Do you think I'm stupid? You two definitely have something going on." He lowered his voice, leaning in. "Spill it. Did you do something to her?" I almost spat out my bubble tea. Can't your brain think of something normal for once? "Then tell me what happened." I rubbed my temples, a headache forming. "What happened? I want to know too." Chloe's behavior today was bizarre in every way. From forcing the card on me at the cafe to chasing me to the dive with cash, especially that look of relief after I took the money. It was as if giving me money was a task she absolutely had to complete. A task? A light bulb went off in my head, and I thought of the revenge system I had just kicked out. Could it be Chloe also had a system, and her system's mission was to give me money? This guess was too outlandish, but the more I thought about it, the more it seemed like the only logical explanation. If that were the case, things just got interesting. "Joe, thinking hard there, buddy." Matt's hand waved in front of my face. "Nothing." I snapped back, deciding not to tell him my crazy theory just yet. "All right, well, if you've got money, I'm relieved." Matt clapped me on the shoulder. "But you're a real piece of work, not even telling your best friend you hooked up with Chloe Sterling." "I told you, it's not what you think." I mumbled, too tired to explain again. I get it, keeping it secret." Matt gave me an "I understand everything" look. I gave up. After splitting with Matt, I immediately went to a brokerage firm and opened an account. Now, everything was ready, just waiting for the right moment. The next 2 days were unusually calm. Chloe didn't appear again, as if that night's events were just a hallucination. But the long string of numbers in my bank account reminded me that it was all real. I used these 2 days to thoroughly research Dawn Tech. It was an obscure small company, mainly producing drone parts, and its stock price had been hovering at a low point. No one knew that they had secretly overcome the dynamic obstacle avoidance technology that had plagued the industry for a long time, and their patent application had entered the final review stage. In my previous life, after this news was announced, Dawn Tech stock price skyrocketed fivefold, becoming the hottest stock of the year. And what I had to do was buy all in before the news was announced. Wednesday, the market opened. I sat in front of my computer, watching Dawn Tech's stock price fluctuate slightly. I wasn't in a hurry to act. I was waiting for the best buying opportunity. Based on my memories from my previous life, around 2 o'clock this afternoon, an institution would make a concentrated sell-off to suppress the stock price and accumulate shares, pushing the price to a historic low. That would be my chance. Time ticked by, and my heartbeat began to accelerate. Even though I knew the outcome, the feeling of betting everything I had still made me a little nervous. 1:50 p.m. Here it comes. On Dawn Tech's sell order book, a massive block of sell orders suddenly appeared, and the stock price plummeted instantly, turning red with panic. The trading chat room was filled with wails. Holy crap, what happened? Is the big player ditching? Damn it, I just bought more. Stuck again. Garbage company. Delist already. This was it. I took a deep breath and typed the command on the keyboard. 200,000, all in. Soon after I bought, the selling pressure disappeared. The stock price stopped falling and began to consolidate at a low level. My heart settled down. All I had to do now was wait. Wait for tomorrow to soar. After doing all that, I turned off the computer, ready to grab a bite. Just as I walked out of my apartment building, a familiar white Maserati stopped in front of me. The window rolled down, revealing Chloe Sterling's emotionless face. Get in, that same commanding tone. I hesitated, then opened the passenger door. Some things I just had to figure out. The AC in the car was blasting. The air was filled with her crisp, elegant perfume. What do you want? I asked directly. Chloe didn't answer immediately. She started the car. The car smoothly merged into traffic before she spoke, her voice still cool. My company recently plans to acquire a tech company. I'd like your opinion. I paused. My opinion? She, a CEO of an investment company worth hundreds of millions, asking a freshly graduated broke student for his opinion? Did I get the script wrong? I don't know anything about business investment. I said truthfully. You do. Her tone was firm, unquestionable. I frowned. What makes you so sure? A gut feeling. Again, an incomprehensible answer. I decided to try another approach. Which company do you want to acquire? Apex Optics. Hearing that name, my heart sank. Apex Optics, that was the infamous massive black hole in my previous life. On the surface, this company seemed to have cutting-edge technology and impressive financial reports, a leader in the optoelectronics industry. But in reality, their core technology was stolen from a foreign lab and had a huge patent dispute risk. In my previous life, Chloe's company acquired Apex Optics and stepped on this huge landmine, causing her company to be severely damaged, almost never recovering. It was from then on that Chloe Sterling transformed from the Ice Queen into a true workaholic, taking 3 whole years to help the company recover. I didn't expect that in this life. She would still go down the same path. Looking at her focused profile as she drove, a complex emotion suddenly welled up in my heart. Although the way she gave me money was strange, objectively, she did help me. For all intents and purposes, I should probably warn her. Why do you want to acquire Apex Optics? I asked. Their flexible screen technology is the future trend. Chloe's answer was very professional. Have you looked at their patent portfolio? Chloe turned her head to glance at me, seemingly surprised that I would ask such a professional question. Yes, it's complete. No loopholes. Then have you read Professor Alan Davies' paper on organic light-emitting diode stability published in Applied Physics Letters 3 years ago? Their lead researcher? For the first time, Chloe's brow furrowed noticeably in front of me. Which paper? The one about organic light-emitting diode stability, I said calmly. A key experimental data point he cited in that paper came from a non-public project at Germany's Max Planck Institute. And that project is the core foundation of Apex Optics' flexible screen technology. The car fell into a dead silence. Only the faint sound of the AC vent. Screech, a harsh braking sound. The Maserati abruptly stopped by the side of the road. Chloe turned her head, staring intently at me, and for the first time, her icy eyes showed an emotion called shock. How do you know all this? Her voice, due to the extreme shock, even had a slight, almost imperceptible tremble. Of course, all this was business confidential information that had been repeatedly reported in the news after Apex Optics' downfall in my previous life. But right now, of course, I couldn't say that. I met her shocked gaze, giving a knowing, somewhat mysterious smile. I just guessed. You guessed. Chloe's expression was like she'd heard the funniest joke of the century. She stared at me, her gaze so sharp it felt like it was trying to pierce through me. The journal, the professor's name, the research area, even the foreign institute. You call that a guess? Her voice was filled with disbelief, and even a hint of anger. I shrugged, looking innocent. Sometimes my gut feeling is just that accurate. I obviously couldn't tell her I was reborn. Saying something like that would just make me sound crazy. Letting her misunderstand me as a hidden genius was better than being thought a lunatic. Chloe didn't speak, just looked at me directly. The atmosphere in the car solidified for a moment. I could feel that she was in a fierce internal struggle. A queen of the investment world, an elite who valued data and logic above all else, was now having her foundations shaken by a seemingly absurd gut feeling. That feeling must have been truly uncomfortable. After a long while, she restarted the car, but didn't say a word. The car drove all the way to an apparently expensive upscale bistro. After parking, she unbuckled her seatbelt and said to me, "Get out." Her tone was still cold, but seemed to lack a bit of its former forcefulness. I followed her into an elegant private room. The dishes were served quickly, all exquisite and carefully prepared, but I wasn't really in the mood to taste them. Chloe didn't pick up her chopsticks either, just poured herself a cup of tea, then looked at me. "What do you want?" she asked suddenly. "What?" I didn't react immediately. "You gave me this information. What do you want in return?" she asked directly. In her world, everything was a transaction. Information naturally had a price. I smiled. "I told you, I just guessed. Believe it or not, it's up to you. I don't need anything in return." My words again plunged her into silence. She picked up her teacup, took a small sip, her eyes flickering, lost in thought. I knew she was starting to overthink things again. A normal businesswoman, upon receiving a business secret potentially worth hundreds of millions, would immediately try to capitalize on it. But I acted so nonchalantly, as if I'd just casually mentioned a trivial matter. This abnormal behavior, to her, must have been full of deep meaning. Who exactly is he? He easily pointed out a fatal flaw that even my team hadn't discovered, yet he says it was just a guess. He refused my money, yet gave me information capable of derailing a major acquisition, asking for nothing in return. This makes no sense at all, unless he's not an ordinary person at all. He's testing me. Yes, he must be testing me. Testing my vision, my scope, whether I'm worthy of his investment. Although I couldn't hear her thoughts, I could almost guess her internal monologue at this moment. After all, I'd seen too many bossy CEO falls for me dramas and novels in my previous life. Except now, the scripts for the male and female leads seemed to be reversed. Sure enough, she put down her teacup, and the look in her eyes changed. If before it was scrutiny and confusion, now it carried a hint of, I understand." She nodded, her expression serious. "This time I owe you one." "Me?" "See?" She figured it out herself again. The meal ended in this strange atmosphere. Chloe dropped me off at my apartment building. Before I got out, she handed me a business card. "If you need anything, you can always reach me." Her tone was unusually serious. I took the card. It had only a name and a phone number, very simple design. "Okay," I nodded. Watching the Maserati disappear into the night, I chuckled, holding the business card. Things were getting stranger and stranger, but it was good. A powerful ally was better than fighting alone. The next day, the stock market opened. I didn't pay attention to Dawn Tech anymore, focusing entirely on my father's company, Oceanfront Industries. Sure enough, just like in my previous life, shortly after opening, a negative news story about a technical flaw in Oceanfront Industries' new material, Starlight Alloy, quickly spread online. The company's stock price immediately dropped. I immediately called my father. On the other end, my father's voice was full of fatigue and anxiety. "Dad, I heard about the company." "Jake, don't worry. These are minor issues. Dad can handle it." My father was still trying to comfort me. My heart ached. In my previous life, he said the same thing, but in the end, to save the company, he pleaded everywhere. His hair turned white overnight, and he still couldn't reverse the defeat. "Dad, do you trust me?" I took a deep breath, asking in a low voice. My father paused. "Silly boy, of course, I trust you." "Good." I said, "Now I need you to do two things. First, hold a press conference, announce that the news about Starlight Alloy having flaws is a rumor, and that we are willing to accept public inspection from any third-party organization. Second, immediately file a lawsuit against the media outlet that published the news for defamation." "What?" My father was shocked. "Jake, are you crazy? The flaw in Starlight Alloy isn't big, but it does exist. How can we agree to a public inspection? Isn't that digging our own grave? Dad, listen to me. I lowered my voice, speaking with unquestionable authority. Starlight Alloy has no flaws at all. The flaw is in the batch of defective imitations produced by our competitor, Skirich Solutions. They released this news to short our stock and then acquire us at a low price. A long silence followed on the other end. I could imagine my father's shocked expression. Jake, how do you know all this? Don't worry about how I know, I said. You just need to know that this is our only chance to counterattack. Dad, trust me. Another silence. After a long while, my father finally said in a trembling voice, Okay, son, I trust you. I hung up the phone, looking at the continuously falling stock price on my computer, my eyes turning cold. Skirich Solutions, Brad Thorne's father, Arthur Thorne's company. In my previous life, they were the ones who used such despicable means to destroy my family. In this life, I will make you pay with blood. As I was contemplating my next move, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I answered, and a polite, yet slightly nervous male voice came through. May I speak with Mr. Miller? This is Jake. Who is this? Mr. Miller. Hello, I'm Ms. Sterling's assistant, Daniel Chun. Chloe's assistant? What did he want with me? Mr. Miller, it's like this. Daniel's tone grew more respectful. Ms. Sterling asked me to inform you that she has terminated the acquisition of Apex Optics. And she had people investigate Professor Alan Davies, as you mentioned, and found that he indeed has an unusual connection with Germany's Max Planck Institute. My heart skipped a beat. Chloe Sterling's efficiency, it was that strong? In just one night, she had already found the evidence? Ms. Sterling said she owes you one, Daniel continued. She said you seem to be experiencing some trouble recently. So, she wanted to ask if there's anything she can do to help you. I looked at the glaring red curve of Oceanfront Industries on my computer screen, a slight smile playing on my lips. Just when I needed a pillow, someone delivered it. Chloe Sterling's favor came at the perfect time. Yes, I said, I need you to do something for me. Mr. Miller, please tell me. As long as we can do it, we'll go through hell and back. Daniel's voice was so excited it almost cracked. I could imagine him on the other end, pumped up. After all, in their eyes, I was that mysterious guru whom even Chloe Sterling had to revere. I need you to use all your media resources to spread a piece of news for me. What news? I looked out the window, my eyes deepening. Just say, Skirich Solutions stole Oceanfront Industries' business secrets and produced substandard imitations with major safety hazards. I want this news to spread throughout the entire industry before 3 o'clock this afternoon. Daniel on the other end gasped. Mr. Miller, are you sure? Daniel's voice was full of shock. This is commercial defamation. Without evidence, Skirich Solutions could sue us into bankruptcy. Who said there's no evidence? I retorted calmly. There's evidence. Daniel was stunned. The evidence. They will deliver themselves, I said mysteriously. In reality, I had no substantial evidence. All I had were memories from my previous life. I knew that Skirich Solutions, in order to rush production, cut corners on that batch of imitation Starlight Alloy, and under high-temperature testing, the flaws would be more than 10 times worse than our original. And my father's recently announced acceptance of public inspection was a clever trap. Skirich Solutions, to completely crush US, would definitely seize this opportunity to tamper with the inspection, replacing our samples with their problematic imitations. And what I had to do was stir the pot beforehand, making them panic. Of course, I wouldn't explain all these complex calculations to Daniel. In their eyes, my persona was mysterious guru. Gurus don't need to explain. Do as I say, I said in an unquestionable tone. If any problems arise, I'll take responsibility. Daniel on the other end fell silent. I could feel his hesitation and struggle. This was no small matter. A slight misstep could plunge Chloe Sterling's company into massive legal disputes. Just as I thought he was about to refuse, he suddenly took a deep breath and said in an incredibly firm tone, Okay, I understand, Mr. Miller. I'll get right on it. I was a little surprised. I didn't expect him to actually agree. It seemed Chloe Sterling had done quite a bit of brainwashing last night. I hung up, a deeper smile playing on my lips. Having an ally with a maximum overthinking capacity certainly made things twice as easy. 2:00 p.m. News about Skirich Solutions stealing business secrets and producing unsafe counterfeit products began to flood the internet. Chloe Sterling's company indeed had immense power. In just an hour, this news topped the headlines of major financial sections. Skirich Solutions' stock price plummeted. I could almost imagine Arthur Thorne's furious reaction in his office. He must have been utterly bewildered, wondering why. Just as he made his move, he was countered with the same tactic. He'd be even more confused why Chloe Sterling, usually neutral in the business world, would suddenly get involved to help our obscure little company. He must be in a complete panic, utterly clueless. And that's exactly the effect I wanted. I refreshed Dawntech's stock price. Sure enough, after the market opened in the afternoon, the positive news was released and the stock price skyrocketed, hitting the limit up. My 200,000 had now turned into 400,000. Everything was proceeding smoothly, according to my plan. I was in a great mood, humming a little tune, and decided to go out for a nice meal to treat myself. Just as I walked out of my apartment building, a familiar white Maserati, one I didn't want to see but expected, stopped in front of me. Chloe Sterling leaned against the car door, still in her sharp white suit. She saw me, said nothing, just opened the passenger door. I resignedly got in. Today's events, that was your doing? She asked as she drove. Which one? Skirich Solutions. More or less, I answered vaguely. She turned her head, giving me a deep look. You seem to always be able to predict everything. Her voice held a trace of inquiry. I told you, it's a gut feeling. I trotted out my pre-prepared excuse again. Chloe fell silent. I knew she didn't believe me, but she couldn't find any evidence to refute me. This feeling must have been driving her crazy. Seeing that rare crack in her perpetually icy facade, I actually felt a strange sense of satisfaction. Aren't you afraid of offending Skirich Solutions by helping me so much? I asked deliberately. Just a company on the verge of collapse? Nothing to be afraid of. Her tone was as flat as if commenting on the weather. That kind of boldness, truly befitting a queen of the business world. Are you so sure Skirich will collapse? I am. She looked ahead, her gaze firm. Because I trust your judgment. My heart skipped a beat. Trust my judgment? We've only known each other for a few days. She trusts me so unconditionally? Just because I guessed the Apex Optics pitfall? This woman's thought process really isn't like a normal person's. Or rather, she's completely bought into my mysterious guru persona. Oceanfront Industries' public inspection is set for tomorrow afternoon, she suddenly said. The location is the State Product Safety Board. Skirich Solutions will definitely send people. I know. What do you need me to do? She asked. I looked at her serious profile and suddenly felt like teasing her. You don't need to do anything. I mimicked her usual calm tone. Just enjoy the show. Screech, another sudden break. My body lurched forward from the inertia, almost hitting the windshield. I turned to her, annoyed. Can't you drive properly? Chloe ignored my complaint, just stared intently at me. Her eyes filled with complex emotions. Shock, confusion, and a hint of hurt. Why, she asked. Why what? Why won't he let me help? Her voice even had a slight, almost imperceptible sniffle. Do you think I'm useless? I froze. Hurt. The Ice Queen, Chloe Sterling. Feeling hurt? This doesn't fit the picture. I looked at her slightly reddened eyes and suddenly realized I might have overplayed my hand. In her mind, my mysterious guru persona, not letting her get involved, was a dismissal of her abilities. It was a slight against her as a follower. Oh man, had her overthinking capacity reached such an extreme level? I rubbed my temples, a headache forming. Communicating with an overthinker like this was exhausting. That's not what I meant, I sighed, softening my tone. What I meant was this is a small-time situation. You don't need to get personally involved. I tried to salvage the situation. Sure enough, hearing my words, her eyes brightened. Small-time situation? Yes, I said, biting the bullet and continuing to act cool. Why use a sledgehammer to crack a nut? Chloe looked at me, her eyes growing brighter and brighter, like Columbus discovering a new continent. A suspicious blush even appeared on her icy face. Understand, she nodded emphatically, her voice filled with excited realization. You want me to conserve my strength, to prepare for more important battles ahead. Me? Fine. If you say so, then it is so. I gave up struggling, leaning back in my seat, feeling utterly drained. When would this constant charade of acting cool ever end? The next day, at the State Product Safety Board, my father, a few key technical personnel from the company, and I arrived early. Many media reporters were present, surrounding us with their cameras, the atmosphere tense. Scary Solutions, led by Arthur Thorne himself, with a group of lawyers and technical staff behind him, all looked grim, clearly bringing trouble. He saw me, his eyes dark with malice, as if he wanted to devour me. Yesterday, Scary Solutions stock hit its limit down, losing over $100 million in market value. He naturally blamed me for this. I met his gaze, unafraid. The game had just begun. This public inspection was entirely handled by the State Product Safety Board, ensuring fairness and impartiality. Technical personnel from both sides, witnessed by the media, jointly sent the sealed samples of Starlight alloy into the high-temperature and high-pressure testing chamber. Everyone's eyes were focused on the display screen outside the testing chamber. It showed the material's performance data in real time. Time passed minute by minute. An hour later, the test concluded. The director of the Product Safety Board, holding a newly printed report, walked to the front. He cleared his throat and spoke into the microphone. To all media friends and guests, the test report for Oceanfront Industries' Starlight alloy material is out. Everyone held their breath. Arthur Thorne's lips curled into a smug, cold smile. He seemed to have already envisioned Oceanfront Industries' downfall. However, what the director said next instantly froze the smile on his face. According to the test results, the Starlight alloy material, under high temperature and high pressure conditions, maintains stable performance metrics, fully meeting national standards, and does not have the major safety hazards mentioned online. Whoosh! The scene erupted in an uproar. Reporters' flashbulbs flashed frantically. Impossible! Arthur Thorne cried out, snatching the report from the director's hand, staring intently at the data, his face filled with disbelief. This is absolutely impossible. Mr. Thorne, it's in black and white. Why impossible? My father said with a cold laugh. You cheated. You must have swapped the samples beforehand. Arthur Thorne roared, pointing at my father in a frenzy. Mr. Thorne, you can't just throw around accusations like that. I stepped forward, walking up to him, my voice not loud, but clearly audible throughout the venue. The samples were randomly selected from a sealed storage, and the entire process was supervised by media and public notaries. How could we swap them? Then, Arthur Thorne was speechless. Instead, Mr. Thorne, I changed my tone, my gaze sharp. Why are you so certain that Starlight alloy material must have problems? Arthur Thorne's face instantly turned ashen. I just believe the rumors online. He still tried to argue. Oh, really? I sneered. On the other hand, think it's because you're too confident in the batch of imitations your own company produced. You're talking nonsense. A hint of panic flashed in Arthur Thorne's eyes. Whether I am or not, we'll soon find out. I turned to the director and said loudly, Director, I suspect Scary Solutions of stealing my company's business secrets and producing substandard imitations that have entered the market. I hereby request a mandatory inspection of Scary Solutions' similar products. My words were like a bombshell, exploding among the crowd. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the pale-faced Arthur Thorne. You're slandering us. Arthur Thorne roared, furious and flustered. Whether it's slander or not, wouldn't an inspection tell us? I pressed on. Mr. Thorne, do you dare? Arthur Thorne was forced back, sweat pouring down his forehead. He didn't dare. Of course, he didn't dare, because he knew better than anyone that his batch of imitations couldn't withstand inspection. Seeing his flustered look, I knew my plan had succeeded. I had spread the news beforehand, muddling the waters, making him think we would also tamper with the inspection, just like him. So, the samples he brought today to expose us were precisely his own problematic imitations. He wanted to use our spear to attack our shield, but he didn't expect that what we brought out was a real shield, while his was a counterfeit spear. Now, he was caught between a rock and a hard place, unable to advance or retreat. This show was getting better and better. Just then, the doors of the venue suddenly opened. A group of uniformed business regulatory enforcement officers walked in. The middle-aged man leading them, with a serious expression, showed his identification. We are from the City Business Bureau, responding to a report suspecting Skirich Solutions of unfair competition and producing counterfeit products. Arthur Thorne, please come with us to assist with the investigation. Arthur Thorne's legs gave out, and he almost collapsed to the ground. He knew it was all over. As he was being led away, he shot me a venomous look. That look seemed to say, "I'll haunt you even after I'm dead." I didn't care. In my previous life, you pushed me into the abyss. In this life, I'm just putting you back where you belong. As the commotion died down, reporters swarmed my father. "Mr. Miller, what are your thoughts on Skirich Solutions' actions?" "Mr. Miller, what are Oceanfront Industries' next plans?" My father, his face flushed with excitement, and, at my signal, calmly announced to the cameras, "Oceanfront Industries will formally file a lawsuit against Skirich Solutions." The trumpet of counterattack officially sounded at that moment. I quietly slipped out of the crowd and walked outside the venue. A familiar white Maserati was parked quietly under the shade of a tree not far away. The window rolled down, revealing Chloe Sterling's cool face. She looked at me, her eyes holding a sparkle I had never seen before. It was a look mixed with admiration, curiosity, and fanaticism. Why use a sledgehammer to crack a nut? She repeated my words from yesterday, a faint but genuine smile gracing her lips. "Understand. Me? Great." She understood again. I sighed and opened the car door, getting in. "Now, can you tell me what you're really after?" I decided not to beat around the bush and asked directly. This mystery had to be solved today. Chloe looked at me, silent for a moment, then, in a voice more serious than I had ever heard, said, "You." My heart skipped a beat, and I almost choked on my own spit. You're after me?" "Yes," she nodded. "I want you to be my—" She paused, seemingly searching for the right word. My heart sank. No way. Was this really going to be a cliché, bossy CEO falls for me drama? I wasn't mentally prepared for this. Just as I was overthinking, she finally found the word. "Be my mentor." "Me? Mentor? What the heck? Mentor?" I rubbed my ears, wondering if I'd misheard. "Yes, mentor." Chloe's expression was one I'd never seen before. Serious and reverent. "I want to ask you to guide me." I looked at her face, filled with eagerness to learn, and felt my worldview was severely impacted. The plot development had completely exceeded my understanding. "Why?" I asked with difficulty. "Because you're strong." Chloe's answer was simple and direct. "Your vision, your strategy, your methods, they're all far superior to mine. The Apex Optics pitfall, the Skirich Solutions scheme, every step you calculated with incredible precision. You're like a prophet standing in the future." Her eyes, as she looked at me, shone with astonishing brightness. "I want to learn from you." I opened my mouth, but not a single word came out. How was I supposed to explain it to her? My so-called prophet was just a cheater in an open book exam. My so-called strategy was just re-walking the path she and others had already taken in my previous life. But could I say any of that? No. I could only continue to maintain my mysterious guru persona. "I don't have anything to teach you," I said dryly. "No, you do." Chloe's tone was as stubborn as a mule. "Even if you're only willing to occasionally guide me, it would be immensely beneficial to me." As she spoke, she took a document from her bag and handed it to me. "This is a token of my sincerity." I took it, and my pupils instantly contracted. Stock transfer agreement, and it was 5% of her own company, Sterling Investments. Based on Sterling Investments' current market value, 5% of its stock was worth at least $500 million. My hand trembled, and the document almost fell to the ground. "Are you crazy?" I cried out. $500 million, just to be my disciple? This wasn't an overthinker anymore. This was a fanatic. "I'm not crazy." Chloe's expression was still calm. "Knowledge is priceless. To exchange $500 million for a mentor who can guide my future, this investment is well worth it." I looked at her matter-of-fact face, utterly speechless. I finally understood why she was able to build such a large company in her previous life. That kind of boldness, that judgment of value, was indeed not something ordinary people possessed. Except this time, she seemed to have misjudged her target. I pushed the stock transfer agreement back. "I can't take this." "Why?" Chloe's brow furrowed again. That question again. I felt a massive headache coming on. Why was communicating with her so difficult? I took a deep breath, deciding to lay some cards on the table. At least some of them. "Chloe, let's be straight with each other. I looked in her eyes, speaking slowly and clearly. You're doing all this not just because you think I'm strong, are you? The first time you gave me money at the cafe, I refused you. Then less than half an hour later, you chased me to the dive, and your face looked really bad, like you were enduring some pain. After I took the money, your face immediately returned to normal. These past few days, you've been trying everything to help me, providing resources, even offending scary solutions for me. All of this is too abnormal. I stared intently into her eyes, not missing any subtle change in her expression. Do you have some hidden difficulty? Or rather, are you being controlled by something? I almost said the word system out loud. Chloe's body suddenly trembled violently. Her perpetually stoic face for the first time showed cracks. Shock, panic, disbelief. All sorts of emotions flickered in her eyes. She looked at me, her lips moving, but no sound came out. Seeing her reaction, I already had my answer. I guessed right. She really had a system. And her system seemed to have some mysterious connection to mine. The car fell into a long silence. After a long while, Chloe finally deflated like a punctured balloon, her entire body relaxing. She leaned back in the seat, closed her eyes, a bitter smile on her face. You knew all along. Her voice held a tremble and relief. Guess some of it. She opened her eyes, looking at me with a complex gaze. Are you also a player? She used a strange word. Player. Someone chosen by a system, she explained. My heart stirred, and I decided to go along with her. I used to be, I answered vaguely. Used to be. Chloe was stunned. Then your system. I kicked it out, I said lightly. Chloe. Her mouth was slightly agape, wide enough to fit an egg. That expression was so priceless, I almost laughed out loud. I guessed her worldview had just been refreshed again. A system could be kicked out? How? How did you do that? She stammered, like a curious child. I just wanted to, so I did. I continued to play it cool. Chloe looked at me, and besides the awe and fanaticism from before, her eyes now held a hint of worship. You're practically a god, she exclaimed from the heart. I suppressed a laugh, cleared my throat. Now, can you tell me what your system is all about? Chloe took a deep breath, seemingly finally making up her decision. My system is called the Billionaire Builder System. Me? Billionaire Builder System? Its mission is to make me. Cultivate a child of destiny. To help him reach the pinnacle of the world, she said slowly. And I, as the investor, can receive 100-fold return and various reward from his growth. I think I'm starting to understand. So, that child of destiny is me? I pointed to my nose. Chloe nodded, then shook her head. Originally, it wasn't you, she said. Originally, the child of destiny, the system bound, was someone else. Then why did it become me? Because the moment the system bound him, he rejected the system. Me. Case closed. Completely closed. My damned revenge system was just a subsystem of this billionaire builder system. I rejected the subsystem, causing the main system to glitch, and then, by some strange twist of fate, I became the child of destiny to be cultivated. And Chloe Sterling, she was my forced whale player. This world was insane. I looked at the Ice Queen in front of me, her face full of helplessness, and suddenly felt a little sorry for her. So, you have to give me money, help me succeed, otherwise your system will punish you. Chloe nodded silently. If I reject your help, or if I fail, what happens to you? The system will deduct my assets and even eliminate me. Her voice was low and hoarse. I gasped. That harsh. I finally understood why she was so persistent about giving me money, why she was so afraid of me rejecting her. We were both in the same boat now. I looked at her, and she looked at me. Our eyes met, and the atmosphere suddenly became a little subtle. So, I broke the silence, asking tentatively, "You're now my exclusive whale player?" Chloe's face flushed instantly, from her earlobes all the way down to her neck. A hint of embarrassment and panic flashed in her cold eyes. She no longer dared to look at me. You can think of it that way. She turned her head, looking out the window, her voice barely a whisper. I looked at her, seeing this stark contrast to her usual aloof queen image. In my heart, I actually found it a little cute. I couldn't help but smile. All right, I get it. I straightened my face, putting away my smile. Since we're in a partnership now, some things will be easier. I pushed the stock transfer agreement back again. I can't take this. But let me finish, I interrupted her. I don't need your shares. What I need are your resources and connections. We are equal partners, not boss and subordinate, and certainly not master and pet. Chloe's body trembled slightly. She turned her head, looking at me again, her eyes now holding something different. Then, how do we cooperate? A foxy smile spread across my lips. It's simple, I said. From now on, you're in charge of funding, and I'm in charge of making you soar. After dealing with Skirich Solutions, my father's company finally got back on track. And I, using the first pot of gold I earned from Dawn Tech, dominated the stock market. With my memories from my previous life, I accurately seized one opportunity after another. In just half a month, the funds in my account snowballed from 400,000 to 5 million. This speed of making money felt almost magical even to me. And Chloe Sterling, ever since that day we laid our cards on the table, became my most loyal partner. She no longer tried to force money on me in various ways. Instead, she set up a special project team, fully managed by her assistant Daniel Chan, on standby 24/7 to provide me with any resources I needed. If I wanted to research a company, Daniel would dig up their entire history within half an hour, compiling it into a PowerPoint presentation for me. If I needed data for a certain industry, he could give me an analysis report more detailed than a professional agency's within an hour. This feeling of having a God mode perspective was simply amazing. Of course, I didn't forget my duties as a mentor. I would occasionally casually reveal future business trends to Chloe, such as the rise of ride-sharing apps, the explosion of short-form video, the wave of artificial intelligence. Each time, Chloe would treat it like a treasure, immediately organizing her team to research and strategize. Her system also gave her generous rewards because of my God-tier predictions. In these past 2 weeks, her company's market value didn't fall, but rose, even surpassing its peak before the failed Apex Optics acquisition. We had formed a strange, symbiotic relationship. One day, I was at home researching the next hot stock when I got a call from my mom. "Jake, come home for dinner tonight. I made your favorite pot roast." "All right, Mom." "Oh, and bring your girlfriend with you." I almost spat out my water. "Mom, what girlfriend? Still playing coy?" My mom laughed heartily on the other end of the phone. "Your dad told me all about it. That girl who helped you out last time, so pretty and capable, named Chloe Sterling, right?" "Me? I forgot about that. Last time at the product safety board, to shut Arthur Thorne up, I impulsively said Chloe was my girlfriend. I didn't expect my dad to actually believe it and tell my mom. "Mom, that was a misunderstanding." "What misunderstanding?" "Your dad saw it himself. That girl picked you up in a fancy car. She was so good to you." My mom didn't believe me at all. "All right, it's settled then. You have to bring her home tonight. Otherwise, don't even think about coming home." With that, she hung up with a click. I held my phone on the verge of tears. What was I going to do now? Ask Chloe Sterling to pretend to be my girlfriend? Are you kidding me? She was the high and mighty Ice Queen. Even though she was now my whale player, her pride was still there. Asking her to play this kind of charade with me, she'd probably turn me into an ice sculpture. I paced around the room, frowning for a long time, and finally bit the bullet and dialed Chloe Sterling's number. The call connected quickly. "Hello," her cool voice came through. Chloe, are you free tonight?" I asked cautiously. "Something up?" "Yeah, just a small favor. I was hoping you could help me with." "Spill it." "It's just, my parents misunderstood that you're my girlfriend, and they want me to bring you home for dinner tonight." I blurted it all out in one breath, then held my breath, awaiting judgment. A long silence fell on the other end. I could even hear her faint breathing. Oh no, she must be mad. Just as I was about to apologize and say I was joking, she suddenly spoke. "Okay." I was stunned. "What did you say?" I said okay, she repeated. "What time? Where?" I was completely bewildered. She actually agreed? Just like that? This didn't fit her persona. Could it be? Her system had given her some weird task again? Like experience a couple's life? Or something? Just. Tonight at 7, at my place, I stammered, giving her the address. "Got it." With that, she hung up. I held my phone, unable to process it for a long time. I just had a feeling. Something wasn't quite right. Around 6:30 that evening, I got home early. My mom was busy in the kitchen, and my dad was reading the newspaper in the living room. Seeing me come back alone, he frowned. Where's Chloe? Why didn't she come back with you? Her company had an emergency. She'll be a little late. I quickly lied. Oomph. I knew you were unreliable, my dad glared at me. Just then, the doorbell rang. My mom immediately rushed out of the kitchen, wiping her hands, saying, "It must be Chloe. Go open the door." I braced myself, walked over, and opened the door. Standing at the door was Chloe Sterling in a black dress. She seemed to have made a special effort to dress up today, with light makeup, which softened her usual sharp edge, giving her a more gentle look. What surprised me even more was that she was carrying large bags of gifts, fancy gift baskets, gourmet coffee, and even a massage chair that looked quite expensive. Me? Was she here to meet the parents? Did she have to be so professional? Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Miller. I'm Chloe Sterling, Jake's girlfriend, she said, and a smile, though a bit stiff, but definitely practiced, appeared on her face as she sweetly greeted my parents. My parents were instantly charmed by her polite and sensible demeanor, their eyes narrowing into joyful slits. "Oh dear, you didn't have to bring so many things. You're too kind." My mom warmly pulled her inside, pushing me aside. Come sit, come sit. Jake, really, making you come so late? Are you starving? My dad also put down his newspaper, smiling as he poured her tea. Watching Chloe, surrounded by my parents, looking a little unnatural but still trying her best to smile, I felt like this world was becoming more and more surreal. Dinner was a nerve-wracking affair. My mom kept piling food onto Chloe's plate until it looked like a small mountain. "Chloe, dear, eat more, you're so thin." "Chloe, how did you and our Jake meet?" "Chloe, when are you two planning to get married?" I almost choked on my soup. "Married? Mom, you're moving too fast." I was about to explain, but Chloe cut in, smiling. "Mrs. Miller, we met at a business networking event. I think Jake is very talented, very insightful, the most special man I've ever met." She said this while also giving me an affectionate glance. Her gaze gave me goosebumps. This acting, she deserved an Oscar. As for marriage, she paused, a hint of shyness on her face. "We're still young. We want to focus on our careers first. But I'll listen to Jake." After saying that, she looked at me again, her eyes seeming to say, "See, I did well, right? Praise me." My parents were even more delighted by her words. Good, good, good. It's great for young people to be ambitious. We won't rush you, we won't rush you." Watching my parents' expressions, like in-laws looking at their son-in-law, growing more and more satisfied, and then looking at Chloe, who clearly wanted praise, I felt like my life had completely spiraled out of control. After dinner, my mom, using the excuse that girls should chat more, insisted Chloe stay, pulling her to watch a primetime family drama in the living room. My dad, meanwhile, called me into his study. "Jake, tell me the truth." My dad closed the door, looking at me seriously. "What's really going on between you and Chloe?" My heart skipped a beat. Had he seen through us? "What do you mean, what's going on? She's just my girlfriend, right?" I stubbornly played dumb. "Don't try to fool me." My dad glared. "I know my own son. I know your capabilities. A girl like Chloe, a born achiever, why would she be interested in you?" "Me? Dad, are you my biological father? Who tears down their own son like that?" "She came today, bringing gifts, saying nice things, completely charming your mother. But I could tell she was nervous and unnatural," my dad pointed out sharply. "The way she looked at you, it wasn't like a girlfriend looking at her boyfriend. It was more like, well, like she was looking at her boss." I gasped. Still, waters run deep. My mom was fooled by appearances, but my dad saw through the problem instantly. "So, tell me what's going on." My dad's eyes sharpened. "Are you holding something over her?" Forcing her to play along. "No, no, no." I quickly waved my hands. "Dad, where's your mind going?" "Then tell me why." I rubbed my temples, a headache forming. This was too outlandish. I didn't even know where to begin. I couldn't possibly tell my dad that his future daughter-in-law was actually his son's whale player, could I? He'd kill me. "Dad, this is complicated," I sighed. "You just need to know that I haven't done anything bad, and we're in an equal partnership." "Partnership?" My dad frowned. "What kind of partnership requires pretending to be a couple?" "Business stuff, you wouldn't understand." I could only be vague. My dad stared at me for a long time. then finally let out a long sigh. Fine, you're grown now. You have your own ideas. He patted my shoulder. I just hope you don't go down the wrong path. Chloe's a good girl. Don't mess things up for her. My heart warmed, and I felt a little guilty. I know, Dad. Coming out of the study, the family drama in the living room had reached its climax. The mother-in-law and daughter-in-law were arguing fiercely over whose last name the child would take. My mom was indignant, holding Chloe's hand, constantly complaining. Look at this mother-in-law. How could you be like that? Exactly, whose last name the child takes. Isn't it still her grandchild? Chloe sat by, looking a bit lost, clearly not understanding. But she still nodded cooperatively, echoing Mrs. Miller is right. Her docile appearance made me want to laugh. We finally managed to get through the drama, and I found a chance to escort Chloe out. Tonight. Thank you, I said sincerely once we were downstairs. No need. Chloe shook her head, her face resuming its usual coolness. It was part of the partnership. She paused, then added, Your mother is very kind. She is. I proudly raised an eyebrow. Your father is very perceptive, she then said. My heart skipped a beat. He said to you? He didn't say anything. Chloe looked at me, her eyes complex, but he seemed to see right through everything. I awkwardly rubbed my nose. Don't worry about it. My dad just likes to overthink things. Chloe didn't speak, just looked at me quietly. Under the night sky, her eyes shone with astonishing brightness. Jake Miller, she suddenly called my name. HM. If. She seemed to hesitate. If one day my system disappears, She didn't finish, but I understood what she meant. If the system disappeared, this strange symbiotic relationship between us would also cease to exist. At that time, would we still be partners? I fell silent. This was a question I had never considered. Just as the atmosphere became a little subtle, an untimely voice suddenly came from nearby. Joe, Jake, way to go, man. Got a secret girlfriend, huh? I turned around to see Matt carrying 2 bags of trash, looking at us with a knowing grin. He lived across the hall from me. How could I have forgotten about him? When did you snatch Chloe Sterling and brought her home to meet the parents? Moving fast, aren't you? Matt came closer, nudging my elbow. Chloe's brow furrowed almost imperceptibly. Don't talk nonsense, I said, annoyed. We're just discussing work. Discussing work? Matt exclaimed exaggeratedly. You two discussing work until late at night, and still looking reluctant to leave downstairs. Who's reluctant to leave? I felt my face flush slightly. All right, I get it. Matt gave me I understand everything look, then turned to Chloe, grinning. Chloe, my buddy here, he's a bit clueless, but he got a good heart, so cut him some slack. Chloe glanced at him, but said nothing. Oh, right, Chloe, you got to keep an eye on him. Matt suddenly remembered something, saying mysteriously, I heard there's a freshman girl at school who's crazy about him. My heart skipped a beat. Freshman girl? How'd I not know about this? Really? I asked. Of course. Matt thumped his chest, assuring me. It's Sophia Chun, the art department's beauty queen. She's always posting on the school forum, saying she wants to have your babies. You're quite the celebrity at school now, dude. Then I remembered. After the Skirich Solutions incident, my reputation as a genius stock trader and business prodigy had spread throughout the school. I didn't expect to attract romantic trouble. As I was worrying, I suddenly felt the temperature beside me drop a few degrees. I turned to see Chloe looking at me, her beautiful eyes like ice. Freshman girl, her voice was even colder than usual. My heart sank. Oh no, the queen was jealous. It's all just rumors. I don't even know her. I quickly explained. Is that so? Chloe sneered. Looks like your after-school activities are quite colorful. They're not. Oomph. She snorted, no longer looking at me, turned, pulled open the car door, and got in. Slam. The car door closed heavily. The white Maserati let out an angry roar and sped away, leaving only me and a bewildered Matt. Zhizhizhik. Matt stammered. Did Chloe Sterling get mad? I turned, glaring at him, squeezing out a few words through gritted teeth. Matt. Rodriguez. Bad company. The ancients truly didn't deceive me. The next few days, Chloe didn't contact me again. I messaged her, but she didn't reply. I called her, but she didn't pick up. Daniel Chun, however, was still as respectful and responsive as before. But whenever I subtly asked about Chloe Sterling, he would stammer and change the subject. I knew Chloe was giving me the silent treatment. I felt a bit helpless, but also a little amused. The formidable Ice Queen actually acting sulky over something like this. But I was also happy for the peace and quiet. It was a good chance to focus on my next plan. My target was Aeon Saga Games, which was about to go public. This company, in my previous life, was an undisputed dark horse. Their martial arts MMORPG called Aeon Saga, with its excellent production and innovative gameplay, became a nationwide hit upon release. The company's stock price also soared 20-fold after going public, and I knew that this company was currently facing severe funding problems, desperately needing an angel round of investment to complete the game's final development and promotion. I intended to make that investment, and I wanted to secure the controlling stake. That day, I arranged to meet Kevin Lee, the founder of Aeon Saga Games and a young programmer, at a coffee shop near the university. Kevin looked quite disheveled, with heavy dark circles under his eyes, messy hair, and wearing a faded plaid shirt. He seemed a little nervous when he saw me. Are you Mr. Miller? I am. I nodded, gesturing for him to sit down. I pushed the investment proposal I had prepared across the table to him. I want to invest in your company. Kevin's eyes immediately lit up. He eagerly picked up the proposal, and when he saw the investment amount, his hands began to tremble. $10 million? Yes, I said calmly, but I have one condition. Name it. Not just one. You can have 10. Kevin said excitedly. I want 51% of the company's shares. The smile on Kevin's face instantly froze. 51%? Mr. Miller, that's too much. The company won't belong to me anymore, he said with a bitter look. No, I shook my head. The company will still be yours. I won't interfere with any of your operations or development. I'm just a financial investor. This agreement can specify that I only have dividend rights, not decision-making power. Kevin was stunned. Only dividend rights, no decision-making power? Was there such a good deal in the world? He looked at me, his eyes full of suspicion. Why? Why would you do that? Because I believe in your talent. I looked into his eyes, saying sincerely, I believe Aeon Saga will become a great game. I don't want that talent to be buried because of funding issues. My words seemed to touch Kevin. He was a pure idealist. To him, the game was his baby. My words undoubtedly struck a chord with him. He looked at me, his eyes slightly red. Mr. Miller, thank you, he choked out. I accept. We signed a contract right there. After seeing Kevin off, I was in a great mood. Securing Aeon Saga Games was like securing half of the future gaming market. I was humming a tune, about to leave, when a clear female voice came from behind me. Excuse me, are you Jake Miller? I turned around and saw a girl in a white dress with long hair cascading down her back, looking at me with admiration. The girl was very pretty, pure, and sweet, especially her large, watery eyes that seemed to speak. I am. Hello, Mr. Miller. My name is Sophia Chun. I'm from the art department. The girl introduced herself shyly. I really admire you. Can I buy you a coffee? Sophia Chun? Matt's big mouth immediately came to mind. So, she was the beauty queen who said she wanted to have my babies on the forum? Looking at her harmless appearance, I found it hard to associate her with the word crazy. Sorry, I have other things to do. I politely refused. I already had one troublesome Chloe Sterling. I didn't want to invite another. Oh, I see. Sophia's face showed disappointment, and her big eyes immediately misted over, making her look utterly pitiable. Mr. Miller, I really just wanted to chat with you. I have a lot of plans for the future and wanted your opinion, she said softly, biting her lip. I couldn't stand it when girls looked like that. My heart softened, and I sighed. All right, just for one coffee. That's great. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Sophia immediately broke into a smile. However, just as I sat down, the coffee shop door opened again. A familiar, cold, and intensely oppressive aura instantly enveloped the entire coffee shop. My heart sank, and I stiffly turned my head. Chloe Sterling, dressed in a black trench coat, high heels clicking, walked in with an icy expression. Behind her, a weary-looking Daniel Chin followed. Her gaze, like a sharp sword, swept across the room, finally landing precisely on me, and Sophia, Chin beside me. In that instant, I felt the coffee shop's temperature drop 10 degrees. Oh no, the confrontation was here. Chloe didn't speak, just strode forward, step by step, towards me. Her high heels clicked on the floor, making a tap, tap, tap sound. Each one felt like it was tapping on my heart. Sophia clearly felt this terrifying aura too. She nervously shrank closer to me. Chloe reached our table and stopped. She looked down at us, her eyes so cold they held no warmth. "Jake Miller," she said, her voice like it was pulled from an ice cellar. "Looks like you've been having quite a vibrant time these past few days while I was away." My scalp tingled. What are you doing here?" I asked dryly. "If I didn't come, my investment would be snatched by someone else," Chloe sneered, glancing pointedly at Sophia. Sophia shivered under her gaze, but still mustered the courage to stand up. Who are you? How dare you talk to Mr. Miller like that? Who am I?" Chloe seemed to hear something amusing. She reached out, grabbed my arm, pulled me up, and then, in front of everyone, did something that left me utterly stunned. She stood on her tiptoes, wrapped her arms around my neck, and kissed me. My whole body stiffened, my mind a complete blank. Her lips were cool, soft, carrying that crisp, elegant scent of hers. The kiss was brief, a mere touch, then she pulled away. But the impact on me was nuclear. The entire coffee shop fell silent. Everyone looked like they'd been paused, staring at us with wide eyes. Sophia's face instantly went white. She looked at us, her lips trembling, unable to utter a single word. Chloe released me, turned to Sophia, a triumphant smile gracing her lips, and slowly said, "Now, do you know who I am?" With that, she didn't look at Sophia again, pulling my still petrified self, and walked out. It wasn't until she had shoved me into that familiar Maserati that I finally snapped out of it. My face was burning. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like it would leap out of my throat. I looked at her, unable to form a complete sentence for a long time. "What?" Chloe turned her head, looking at me, her face having returned to its usual coolness, but a suspicious blush still lingered around her earlobes. "Scared. Why did you do that?" "To mark my territory." Her answer was simple, direct, and full of queenly dominance. "Me? I don't like my things being coveted by others," she said flatly, looking ahead. "I'm not your thing." I couldn't help but retort. She turned, giving me a deep look. Really, her gaze was complex. I suddenly didn't know what to say. The car sped along, finally stopping by the river. Chloe turned off the engine, and silence filled the car. The river flowed quietly outside the window. Moonlight scattered on the water, shimmering. "Jake Miller." After a long while, Chloe spoke again, her voice holding a trace of imperceptible fatigue. "Let's talk." "Okay. My system, recently, has been having some problems," she said slowly. My heart skipped a beat. "What kind of problems?" "It started giving me strange tasks." Her eyes darted away. "Like asking me to prepare breakfast for you, asking me to do your laundry, even asking me to investigate all of Sophia Chen's information." "Me? What kind of matchmaker system was this?" "And the rewards it gives me have also become very strange," she continued. "No longer business information or company shares, but host favorability +1, host trust in you +1. The more I listened, the more I felt something was wrong. This billionaire builder system, by all accounts, seemed more like a dating sim system. Most importantly, Chloe took a deep breath, seeming to have made a huge decision. "It told me that if I can't make you fall in love with me within 3 months, it will eliminate me." Boom. My mind was struck as if by a bolt of lightning. Make me fall in love with her? Otherwise, elimination? What kind of tyrannical terms were these? I looked at Chloe, and she looked at me. Her eyes no longer held their usual coolness and pride, only helplessness and a hint of pleading. I suddenly understood why she had suddenly appeared today, why she had acted so impulsively. She was afraid of losing this only chance. My heart felt a sharp pang. This woman, all this time, had acted so strong, so omnipotent. I had almost forgotten that she was also just a pitiful person bound by a system. Everything she did was just to survive. So, I said with difficulty, "Today, you were completing a mission." Chloe's body trembled slightly. She didn't answer, but her silence said it all. A sudden surge of nameless anger welled up in my heart. Not at her, but at that damned system. How dare it so wantonly manipulate a person's fate and emotions? Jake Miller, Chloe's voice trembled. I know this is a huge ask, but I don't want to die. She looked at me, her beautiful eyes for the first time welled up with tears. Please, help me. In that moment, my heart was utterly chaotic. I looked at her tear-streaked face, at the raw vulnerability and fear in her eyes. All reason, all plans were thrown to the wind. I reached out and pulled her into my arms. Her body was cold, still trembling slightly. Don't be afraid. I held her, my voice hoarse. I'm here for you. I don't know if it was out of pity or something else. I just knew that in this moment, I didn't want to see her cry. I'll help you. I looked into her eyes, speaking each word clearly and solemnly. I will love you. As I said the words, I will love you, I clearly heard a mechanical prompt in Chloe's mind. Ding. Detected targets, strong emotional fluctuation, favorability plus 50. Ding. Main quest, make him fall in love with you, progress 80%. Ding. Congratulations. User, you have received a special reward. True feelings confession, after use, allows the target to express their deepest thoughts. I froze. How could I hear her system's voice now? Was it because of the physical contact just now? Chloe also froze. She clearly heard the system prompt too. She looked up, her eyes wide with disbelief, staring at me. You heard that? I nodded silently. Our eyes met, and the atmosphere became subtle again. So, what I just said, it gave you 50 favorability points. I asked tentatively. Chloe's face instantly flushed again. She pulled out of my embrace, turning her head, not daring to look at me. Looking at her embarrassed expression, I suddenly felt that this so-called dating strategy mission wasn't so bad after all. So, what does that true feelings confession mean? I asked curiously. Chloe's body visibly stiffened. It's just an item, she said vaguely. How do I use it? I don't know. Judging by her expression, I knew she wasn't telling the whole truth, but I wasn't going to press her. Some things were better left a little mysterious. After that day, my relationship with Chloe entered a whole new phase. We started acting like a real couple, dating, going to movies, shopping. Although most of the time I did the talking and she listened, she still wasn't used to intimate gestures in public. Every time I tried to hold her hand, she would flinch like she'd been zapped, quickly pulling away, her face flushing to her earlobes. She looked so cute doing that. I always want to tease her. And her system also became stranger and stranger. Ding. Daily quest issued. Feed him a shrimp you peeled yourself. Reward. Favorability +1. Ding. Weekend quest issued. Go to an amusement park and ride the Ferris wheel with him. Reward. Favorability +5. Ding. Random quest issued. Hug him from behind while he's looking at documents. Reward. Favorability +10. Every time Chloe heard these quests, she would be so embarrassed she'd want to disappear into a crack in the floor. But to survive, she had to grit her teeth and do them. So, I often saw the Ice Queen, who moments before had been giving me the cold shoulder, now timidly offering a peeled shrimp to my mouth, or like a thief, giving me a stiff hug from behind while I worked, then quickly running away. And I enjoyed every minute of it. I savored her clumsy attempts to please, savored the process of her slowly letting down her icy guard for me. I didn't know how much of my feelings for her were for the sake of the mission, and how much came from my true heart. Perhaps, from the very beginning, I had already fallen for this outwardly cold yet inwardly warm, occasionally cute queen. 3 months passed quickly. That night, we sat by the river in the same spot where we first laid our cards on the table. Ding. Main quest. Make him fall in love with you. Current progress 99%. Countdown 10 minutes. User, please complete the final favorability point quickly. Otherwise, the system will execute the elimination protocol. The cold system prompt rang in my mind. I turned to Chloe. Her face was pale. Clearly, she heard it too. Just a little bit more. She looked at me, her voice trembling almost imperceptibly. I looked at her nervous expression and suddenly smiled. I know. I reached out and pulled her into my arms. Chloe, I looked into her eyes, saying earnestly, these past 3 months, I've been really happy. Let me finish. I interrupted her. I don't know what love is. I just know that when I don't see you, I miss you. When I see you talking to other guys, I get upset. When I see you smile, my mood gets better too. If that's what love is. I took a deep breath, saying each word clearly and precisely. Then, Chloe, I love you. Ding. Detected targets, true feelings, favorability plus 100. Ding. Main quest. Make him fall in love with you. Progress 100%. Quest complete. Congratulations, user. You have completely broken free from system control and received the ultimate reward. Absolute control. User will gain supreme control over the system and all subsystems. System transferring control. 10%, 50%, 100%. Control transfer complete. Farewell, my master. A series of prompts exploded in my mind. I froze. Ultimate reward? Supreme control? I became the system's master? Before I could react, Chloe in my arms suddenly burst into tears. She cried like a child, letting out all the grievances and fears of the past few years. I held her, gently patting her back, my heart filled with mixed emotions. It was all over. Or perhaps it had just begun. After a long while, she stopped crying, lifting her tear-streaked face to look at me. Jake, what you just said, was it all true? Her voice was still thick with tears. Of course it was true. But she bit her lip. I was just completing missions. I know. I smiled, gently pinching her nose. But the smile at the corner of your mouth when you fed me shrimp was real. The light in your eyes when you watched movies with me was real. The way you tightly held my hand at the amusement park was also real. A person's actions can be faked, but the heart's stirring cannot be hidden. Chloe looked at me, and tears flowed down her face again. But this time, they were tears of joy. She threw herself into my arms, hugging me tightly. Jake, I love you too. I held her, feeling like my whole world was complete. Just then, I suddenly remembered that forgotten special reward. Oh, right, Chloe. HM, that true feelings confession item of yours, do you still have it? I asked with a mischievous grin. Chloe's body instantly stiffened. What are you planning? Nothing. I pulled her out of my embrace, looked into her eyes, and said with an earnest expression, I just want to hear your truest thoughts about me. Chloe's face visibly flushed bright red. She looked at me, her lips moving, seemingly engaged in a fierce struggle with something in her mind. Finally, as if giving up resistance, she closed her eyes and, throwing caution to the wind, loudly declared, I want you to take me home right now, and then pin me down on the bed and kiss me hard. Me. The world suddenly became very quiet. The river wind blew. I looked at the woman in front of me, her face flushed crimson, dying of shame, yet uttering such audacious words. I couldn't help but burst out laughing. Okay. I leaned in close to her ear, whispering in a voice only we could hear. As you wish, my queen.